Okay, so today we will talk about some technologies of social recovery. So we have a plan. I guess today it will be about social skills training, assertiveness, and I hope we will speak about technologies of empowerment as well, but we'll see. Okay, what about social skills training? Why it is so important component of rehabilitation process and resocialization process? To respond to this question, I would like you to think with me about these points. First, what kind of tasks we have to settle in order to help marginalized and deviant persons, if we're talking about social skills. It means, how can we help those people who are marginalized? Let's stay on this point. We're talking about marginalized people, not deviant, first of all, marginalized.
Які види завдань ми повинні
давати? What kind of tasks? Які можливі завдання ми можемо поставити перед собою, щоб допомогти маргіналізованим особам? Девіантів ми поки що чіпати не будемо, да? Поки що ми говоримо про маргіналізованих. So how can we help them if we try, for example, to design some kind of project, social project, to help marginalized people, or what would be the first task? Well,
мені здається, що перед тим, як давати завдання, потрібно якомога більше дізнатись про цих людей, про конкретну цільову аудиторію, кому я буду давати завдання.
Yeah, of course. No, it will be your task, not their task. It will be your task as a specialist. So as a social worker, for example, or a social pedagogist, or what kind of task I have to solve in order to help those people. Які я завдання мушу вирішити для того, щоб допомогти маргіналізованим особам, да? And you were very right when you were talking about needs and some peculiarities of marginalized people. So if we don't know this group, we can't settle the task. But last time we've been talking about some specificities of this group. Yeah. What is the more and you you created the table of different problems of marginalized people. So due to this table, what kind of task you can settle? At least one, for example.
It can be education.
Okay. What kind of education?
Which connected with their lifestyle. To fix to fix their lifestyle.
Nice.
Or I also can demonstrate it on different examples that their lifestyle is not really good for them.
You're talking about, I guess you're talking about deviant people more, about their lifestyle. But when we're talking about marginalized, who is actually marginalized about they concern their status. For example, they are poor, they have some physical issues or mental issues, so that's why they're being marginalized.
Ну, людина може, як це сказати, людина може бути зациклена на якійсь проблемі, там фізичній або відсутності грошей, і вона не бачить того, що її життєва стратегія, вона веде в глухий кут. Ну, ось я мала на увазі, що ось в цьому плані можна використати ось ці...
So you're talking about psychological issues, because when we something in the mind of those people, it's something in my head. If we're talking about something in my way of thinking, in my psychological statement, we're talking about psychology. So the first point, we have to change their way of thinking, as I understand you correctly.
We should try at least.
We should try at least, and then we can plan some educational activities. One peculiar type of such kind of activities is a social skills training. So if we're talking about social skills, what do you think the main consequences of their development? Які основні умови розвитку хороших соціальних навичок? Що потрібно, щоб були розвинені хороші соціальні навички у людини?
Мені здається, спочатку без спілкування, звичайно, людина не може розвинути будь-які соціальні навички, але навіть якщо людина буде якісь, скажімо так, частково застосовувати прийоми ось цих soft skills, то вона буде це робити неусвідомлено. Але коли людина...
We're talking about social skills, not soft skills. Soft and hard skills, it's a little bit other classification. Never mind, I mean social skills, соціальні навички. What does it mean? Communication skills, I agree, totally agree. Okay, what else?
Це встановлення контакту, підтримування контакту, вміння досягнути бажаного за допомогою контакту, можливо, переконати людину в чомусь, не знаю, почути її точку зору.
So it's talking skills, listening skills, its ability to achieve your settled goals, okay. And what would be those consequences of good social skills developing? For example, do you have good social skills? Could you say about yourself that you have good social skills?
Я хотіла би сказати, що я маю мої соціальні скіли, я думаю, не на достатньому рівні.
Maybe they're good enough.
Maybe.
They're not bad, at least. Okay. So you can communicate, you can listen, you can bear with, I don't know, with some requirements concerning education. I mean higher education. So you're well educated, young girl. So it's okay. So you have good enough social skills, but maybe you are very hard on yourself, very demandful toward yourself. So you estimate it not very high. But if you try look back to your consequences, to your background, how it was developed?
It was developed by in communication with different kinds of people,
Mhm.
because I have a huge background.
Okay, so see what we have. We can also try to answer the third question as well. What are the main consequences of poor or bad social skills developing? So if you have a lot of contacts with different people, so you have a possibility to development your communicative skills. But if you are isolated from other people, yeah, in the case if you, for example, if you were isolated from other people, so it would put some restrictions on your social skills development. For example, what else? What other consequences of good social skills development? So we established that inclusion in socioeconomical processes, inclusion in different social groups, communication with different people. So everything of this is opposite of social isolation. So so we can say for sure, then in the case of social isolation, you can't develop social skills.
Yes.
So that so if we coming back to the notions of marginalization, who is marginalized people? So it's a people who are excluded from socioeconomical processes, who are excluded from a wide field of groups to communicate with. Yeah, so maybe they are isolated, and they are forced to live in a very small group of people with common maybe interests or maybe with common problem, and that's all. So the main consequences of poor social skills developing, first of all, it's isolation, lack of communication, lack of possibilities, and so on. Okay, so let's talk about the notion. What are social skills? There are different definitions, and I chose some very simple and understandable. So social skills are the behaviors, verbal and non-verbal, that we use in order to communicate effectively with other people. Social skills are governed by culture, beliefs, and attitudes, and they continuously change and develop throughout our lives. So social skills are not stable. Yeah, so it can be that you are born with social skills and they will be the same during your life. No, it's impossible. They are very dynamic. So somebody that uses social skills to effectively interact with friends, family, workmates, and strangers is said to have social competence. And I guess you met such kind of people who are very friendly with everybody and very free speaking about themselves, about they were very free in small talks. They're very free in, for example, goals achieving and talking about their needs. They can ask somebody for help. And we can say that those people are very social competent. So they have a lot of social skills. There are different kinds of social skills, maybe not really obvious from the first point, from the first view. But for example, eye contact with others during conversation. It's a social skill. Smiling when greeting people. Have you met people who are not smiling when they're greeting? Like, hello. Oh, hi. and no eye contact. Yeah, like say hi. So I guess maybe not that funny way, but we met such kind of people because they have maybe some psychological or social psychological problem with greeting or maybe with the contacting of other people. But such from the first view, simple skills like eye contact or smiling are very important for us to make an opinion on different people. Then shaking hands when we're meeting someone, it's like a tradition. So social skills are very about some traditions which settled in such kind of group, this kind of group. So we have to understand, do we have shaking hands here, or maybe share some kisses like in Spain, yeah, which is common, for example. Then using the right tone and the volume of voice. And we can say that people who are not very self-confident, they are speaking very, not loud at all. They are mostly they silent. So they talking very, very silent. So it's hard to hear what they're saying. Then flirting. Flirting is very funny, but it's social skills too. Yes, flirting. It's what you're thinking about. Flirting, like flirting, flirtovate. So it's a social skills. It's a skill which concern the game, like very fascinating game between different people, not mandatory different gender. Yeah, it could be between boys and between girls as well. But it means that you are making someone closely and then a little bit far away. So you pushing pushing someone away, and then you making him closer. It's the essence of flirting. Then expressing opinions to other. In my clients' experience, expressing opinion, apparently very important and meaningful thing. So to express your opinion, you have to have a courage. Yeah, so you have to be maybe brave. For example, if you're expressing opinion not eye to eye to your partner, you're expressing opinion, for example, in a group or maybe in a study group. So it's a hard, because it means that you have gather your mind together. You have dare to speak about what you're thinking of. And we know that some people don't have such social skills because they're not, so we can see with this example that having social skills very connected with self-confidence. Then perceiving how others are feeling and showing empathy. If you're not a sociopathic person, usually you can differentiate emotions of your emotions and emotions of other people, and show your empathy to others. For example, someone talking about her or his experience with the sad voice, describing maybe bad mood or something bad happened to these people, and you just like, oh, okay, let's talk about me now. So it's not showing social skills. It's quite opposite to empathy. So empathy means that we try to understand deeply what's happening with other people and try to show this empathy. So people who are not able to show empathy are not social skilled, and as a consequence, other people usually don't like them and prefer not to speak with them. So if we're talking about inclusion and exclusion, so people who are not pleasant in communication are often excluded from this communication. Appropriate emotional responses is very close to previous one. Appropriate emotional responses, it means that you crying but not laughing when you're sad, or when something sad happens, or you are reacting on humor of other people, and especially reacting to humor. To be able to understand that someone is joking right now, it's a quite important social skill, because it's making you closer to other people and other groups of people. For example, it was really hard for me to understand almost half of all jokes which I heard in the company of my colleagues in Great Britain when I had an entrepreneurship in Great Britain. So I understood it. Well, I understood that something will make them laugh. So that something made them it's some kind of situation, but I can't recognize, maybe because I wasn't familiar with different words, so I was in such situation a little bit excluded. So sometimes I asked them to, oh, please, could you explain me the joke? So jokes as like traditions of greeting are part of social traditions, and if we're talking about marginalized people, for example, marginalized by the characteristic of of territory or cultural devotion, to understand the tradition of the area where you came and try to live became very crucial for such people. Because if you're not able to understand, to perceive what's happening, you will be excluded. I found a very nice typology of social skills. Very smart classification as for me. So we could define skills on survival, interpersonal, problem solving, and conflict resolution skills. So what does it mean, survival skills? We're not living in the wild world. Well, maybe in some kind of it's sort of wild, but not quite. I mean, survival skills, it doesn't mean like survive, like staying alive. Survival skills, it means to survive in a social in a social ground, in a social groups. To be, they're a very weird term, like social death. Social death, it means that you're staying alive, like, I don't know, physical body or even psychological body, yeah, staying alive. But you totally drop out, totally isolated from other groups. And there are such skills which could help you to survive in those groups. And those skills are listening, following directions, ignoring distractions, so ability to concentrate on something, using nice or brave talk, and rewarding yourself. For example, нагороджати себе. Rewarding yourself, it means нагорода для себе. So these skills are called survival. They help you to survive in social surrounding. The second type of skills it's interpersonal skills. So connected with the interactions. It means sharing, asking for permission, joining an activity, or waiting your turn. So interpersonal skills mostly concern these rules, norms, which make you to which make you friendly to other people, which make your communication with other people more soft, maybe more intelligent, and more comforting for you and for other people. So you have to share, you have to ask for permission, you have to join an activity and wait your turn in some cases. Then problem-solving skills. So it means such skills, you needed such skills when you're trying to resolve some problem situation. For example, it's asking for help. Ability to ask for help. For example, do you often asking for help? Do you often ask for help someone?
No.
Okay. And why?
Я розраховую на себе.
So yeah, it's very good to count on yourself, but sometimes problem-solving skills means that you understand that you can't solve everything, and sometimes you have to rely on someone. And this is and to rely on someone. Sometimes it's good for you and good for other people because they understand that they could do something for you. They could be closer for you with helping you. So asking for help, I would say it's particularly problem solving, and partly it's a survival skill as well. Then apologizing, because problems are often connected with our mistakes in communications or misconceptions, different misconceptions. And if you do something wrong, you better apologize. So it's very nice skill. So we can apologize and moving further. Accepting consequences, and I guess it's hard to get this skill to just accept. So, okay, let it be. Yeah. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. And the skill to decide what to do. So, making an opinion on some life situation and deciding. Then conflict resolution skills. So if problem skills are more oriented on problem interactions with other people, the opposite, I'm sorry. So, while problem solving skills more oriented on your situations, the problems which appeared in your life, while conflict resolution skills concerned more other people. It's, for example, very nice for teenagers. It's dealing with teasing. Справлятися з... Зараз немає ж такого слова. Tease – це дражнити. Тобто ситуації, коли тебе піддражнюють, коли тебе підначують, і давати лад з такими ситуаціями, це dealing with teasing. Зрозуміло, да?
Yes.
Then losing. It could be losing in battle or losing in a discussion. So it means you have accept that you're not a winner here. Yeah, you lose. Dealing with accusation, when someone blaming you, saying shame on you, it's you who doing this, it's accusation, for example. Being left out, or dealing with peer pressure. So this type of skills are connected with very risky situation. Risky because we can lose support and assurance of other people when we deal with such kind of situations. So we have to handle it, to be able to handle those situations. And for example, if we're talking about deviant people, if we're talking about deviant behavior, they have a lot of problems with problem-solving skills and conflict resolution skills. They, for example, could use violence against those people who, for example, accused them or making pressure on them, or use, I don't know, drugs or alcohol to deal with this conflict. So it's about deviation. If we're talking about marginalization, marginalized people being left out, so they can't, keep on moving toward the group and be persistent to be within this group. So social skills are really, I guess it's really important thing for all people, and especially for those who are in the risk of marginalization. But again, if we try to remember our school years, it wasn't. I don't think that it was the best years of our life, the school years. So every time happened something bad. For example, exclusion, or when you want to join some cool group and you want to be among these cool people, and you can't because you're not maybe following their demands, or you're not accepted in this group. So all these things are really harmful, and sometimes people are just excluding for this group, for especially young people, because they are different. They are just different. So we already defined what kind of social skills we can train, we can develop, and now we can talk about how to build, how to create a social skills training, and I brought some example of implementation of social skills training. But before this, I want to show you an example of social skills training with the people who struggle with addiction. With struggle with addiction. Okay, I will show you this. Can you see the screen?
Yes, I see.
Can you see this new, this window with the life skill training to fight addiction? Yeah, okay. So, for example, life skills training, well, it's the same of social skills training, but it concerned, well, definite problem, the problem of addiction. And we can see the structure and the logic of social skills training, which aimed on becoming a more complete person. So they say that life skills training all about developing more balanced person that each of our patients can be. So they try to keep the balance, to balance, to not fall up into addiction again. So they building the confidence and self-esteem to fight addiction and to thrive in recovery. So those points of program very interesting are first, social skills. What is interesting for us? They're talking that opposite of addiction isn't sobriety, it's connection. And що протилежність залежності не є, власне, незалежність, від речовини. Це зв'язок. So it means that addicted people lose their social support and lose, supportive and healthy environment. So in some cases, they didn't have it at all, but anyway, social skills here, it's try to improve ability of patient to connect with other people, and to have the better self-esteem, to deal with stress, enable them to communicate their thoughts and emotions in productive way. Then we have in this life training routine management, learning to build an effective daily routine. I guess this routine management would be very useful for people in quarantine. When you're not having a plan on day, it's not really healthy for mental statement of people. So you have to have this daily routine, or at least some points which you have to do in this day. So daily routine is very crucial for addiction recovery, and it helping with settlement of stability in life. So you have to carefully plan and develop time management skills. So accept communication. So in addition to the social skills like communication and self-esteem and so on, you have another group of skills concerned of day planning and management skills, time management. Then we have personal skills. It means, what does it mean to have a good personal skills? It means you have, it concern hygiene, it concern independency of person. Я так розумію, що йдеться тут про те, що людина в адикції перестає для себе готувати їжу, перестає повністю дбати про себе. І personal skills – це не психологічні скіли, да, не психологічні навички, а в першу чергу це навички дбати про себе. Да, і йдеться про те, що вони розшифровують. This means learning to eat well, have better hygiene, budget, and go hours that improve your daily cleanliness. Тобто їсти добре, дбати про особисту гігієну, планувати бюджет і, власне, про чистоту щоденну, да? Далі, professional or vocational help. They help patients to discover what they're good at and give them personal skills to better seek out professional work when they are done with recovery, so they can get rooted in financial stability. So I guess it's a part of recovery. Yeah, in addition to, so you, for example, we have here a very nice model, yeah, of social recovery. For people, for example, in addiction, I would say the same structure would be nice for people who are in recovery after mental illness. Because they lose connection with their body, they lose connection with social environment, and they need as well and social skills training and rebuilding self-esteem, routine management, personal skills, and of course they need some support for professional help. So this last point, it's understandable, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Well, let's coming back to presentation. So that was an example of very nice social skills training. I brought the link here, okay. So you can, yeah, so here you can see, I will put this piece of material in Google Classroom so you could find it in the web. So what we have to do to build the basic social skills training? First of all, we have to identify the problem. Social skills training is very good not only for marginalized people, it's very good to people who try to resocialize after, I don't know, committing the crime, or resocialize after they handle the punishment. So it's very nice for people who are recovering from mental illness. Basic social skills training, it's not the same as psychological training. It's a training which aimed on recovery or developing of main social skills, yeah, which, for example, we saw in the previous slide. Like survival skills, problem-solving skills, and so on. So first of all, we have to identify the problem, what we're dealing with. For example, are the problems with socializing predominantly fear of large gatherings of people or speaking people at work? I guess I have to clarify here, yeah? Or understandable?
Yes.
Тобто ми маємо ідентифікувати проблеми. Чи ця проблема, наприклад, стосується великих зібрань людей, чи просто з тим, щоб говорити з людьми на роботі. In order to figure out the major problem, the patient and psychologist or the client and social worker work together through discussion. So they have to discuss, what's the problem? Once these problems and reasons have been determined, the trainer can determine what skills need to be focused on. So, okay, we have a problem, for example, concerned talking with people at work, especially, for example, with manager. So the problem is I can't, and then I have to identify what kind of skills do I need here. For example, I have the skills, I have the skill to, I have to have the skill to understand what I want to say. Yeah, for example, to gather my thoughts together. Then I have to be able to speak, or I have to be able to have a small talk on the work, or I have to be able to talk about my opinion, or maybe protect or have make a presentation in the work meeting. So all these skills we can define as a particular tasks of our training, which we focused on. And then we have to understand how best to teach those skills. And if person have some other underlying issues, so if person can't talk freely about their opinion, it doesn't mean that, so it could mean that he or she simply can't formulate the sentences. Yeah, so just can't formulate it correctly. Some disturbances of logic or the way of thinking, so what. But it could be other thing. It could be that we can have here some psychological issues. When person thinks that, well, I'm not worthy of your attention. For example, I'm a bad speaker. I can't do this. For example, underlying issue would be, very low self-esteem. So we have understand what would be the problems which could be solved by the means of educational social skills training, and what problems couldn't be solved by the means of training, but they should be solved with the engaging of, for example, psychotherapists. Then setting the goals. The next stage, we have to set the goals. For setting the goals, we can settle the overall mission. It could be, for example, ability to socialize comfortably in the staff room. But individual goals should be very skill specific. For example, learning how to greet someone. Yeah, to greet someone, you have to shake the hands, yeah, for example. Or to greet someone, you have to smile and say, hi. Yeah, so, and you learn how to greet. Ask how people are doing and respond appropriately. So, thank you. I'm doing well, and how are you? For example, it's like essentials of small talk. Once each goal or skill is mastered, the goal for next sessions become more difficult. It's a specificity of social skills training that the first goals, the first tasks should be very easy. Why do you think? We have to settle the first task easy, then a little bit harder, and then a little bit more harder, and then the hardest.
Ну, перше, тому щоб не відбити бажання людини і щоб вона вірила в свої сили, що їй сили.
Yes, precisely. Of course, a person should believe that she can do it or he can do it. And that's why we should settle these little easy tasks on the first steps. Especially, it's very meaningful with people who are suffering after maybe long disease. So it's very important to settle very small and understandable and achievable goals. Keeping the overall goal in mind will have participants overcome times when they feel like giving up on the therapy. What does it mean? It means that we have smaller goals and we have this overall goal, which we could call, for example, mission. And when I keep my mission in mind, so it's like, why am I doing all of this? Yeah. So why do I need this to do? If I not succeed in one task, at least I understand why am I still doing it. Next, modeling. What does it mean, modeling? Well, model, it's a part of reality, which you, let's say it's the part of reconstructed reality in order to, for example, to study or to research some point or to train something. So it's a model. So that's why we have, for example, educational model, or we have scientific model, or something else. So in this case, we have to deal with training model. Before participants are expected to perform the skill, I mean to perform the skill in a wide social environment, trainer have to model the skill they're focusing in, and it helps them to see exactly what they need to do before attempting to do it. For example, I want to be brave behind a group of people when I'm talking about something, for example, or making presentation. It's very abstract skill. We have to model it. We have to, it should be visible. It should be understandable. What does it mean to be brave? It's how. It should be like model of behavior. So I want to be, I don't know, yeah, like James Bond, for example. Yeah, so James Bond would be model of our behavior. So we have to model the skills and know exactly what we try to do. Then next, it's role playing. Role playing, it's a practice which very important aspect of social skills training. It may feel very strange and maybe uncomfortable when you're trying to role playing in the first place. Especially when you're adult and you think, oh my God, role playing, it's silly. I don't want to do this. I want to do it in real life. Yeah, I don't need this role playing. But nevertheless, it's very important because it's hard to start to do it outside. You should try it on a very safe environment, for example, with other participants of training. You can try to do it with them, and then you will do it with other people who are not participants of the training group. So you can do it in the real life. Then feedback. Feedback, it's not about only emotions, or it's not about, oh, I liked what you do very much. It's not feedback. Feedback means that other people or other participants and a trainer could focus on your skill and say, okay, for example, you did well, but still for example, the voice, your voice wasn't so strong, or your voice wasn't loud enough, or you should, for example, I don't know, spread your shoulders more, yeah, when you speak. So it would be feedback. So feedback is an honest describing of what you see, and you're talking to, it's like mirror. Yeah, I'm giving you feedback what I see. So it's very important element of training, which help you to not you, I mean, which help trainer and participants to go further and to achieve the goal. Then homework. Homework, it's not boring thing, it's very important thing here, because the main work goes not on training, but between the sessions. Yeah, for example, training lasts for 6 hours or 5-6 hours, and between those sets of training, it's been, for example, a week. So more hours. Yeah, so it's like for hundreds hours of your life. It means that doing homework, you increase the success of your training session. Trainer should set some little homework challenges. So, okay, so now you can try to say hello to strangers. For example, in your house, when you where you're living, in the building where you're living. Or now you have to have small talk in the marketplace with people who sell vegetables, for example. Yeah, hello, how are you? Yeah, are your tomatoes fresh or something? Yeah, so where did you get those tomatoes? So small talk is very important. Yeah, very important skill for people to feel safety, to feel themselves within the group. Yeah, this feeling of devotion. So usually homework will carry on directly from the session, so you can practice new skills you learn, and depending on your success at meeting the challenge, you will focus on new, more difficult skills in the next session. So homework can help you to move further, to make something more harder than you did last session. I always tell it to my students, but well, it doesn't work. I try to tell them that homework is important, but they don't believe me. Okay. Do you have any questions about social skills training?
I haven't.
Okay, so I made a review. What does it mean, social skills? What do you have to do to train social skills? How can you organize the training? Okay. I have a question. What would you maybe, do you have something, for example, to add in this structure of implementation of social skills training? Do you have any suggestions? What could be useful, for example, for teenagers with disabilities who are struggling to be included in a social environment in school?
No, I think that this social skills training and this structure of this process.
Mm-hmm.
It's very interesting, and when you tell me about feedback, I think about that when we haven't this stage of role playing, we don't have a feedback from someone,
Mm-hmm.
trainers. So it's very important to дотримуватися ось цих всіх елементів.
Mm-hmm. Ну, ці елементи, вони водночас є і етапами, і техніками.
Це як алгоритм, на мою думку.
Да, це схоже на алгоритм, він достатньо простий, і виходить, що тут найголовніше – це задати правильний, правильну ідентифікацію проблеми. Якщо ми задали ідентифікацію проблеми правильно, ми задали потім setting the goals, like little goals, то далі у нас сама програма складеться. Тобто можна за цією моделлю, можна, в принципі, працювати. Вона робоча.
Так, це дійсно дуже важливо мати чітку ціль, якої ти хочеш досягти, і прописувати поетапно шляхи її досягнення. Тому що іноді людина може хотіти чогось, але вона не усвідомлює в повній мірі, що саме це, як це виглядатиме, і які треба зробити кроки для досягнення бажань.
Я погоджуюсь. Це дійсно дуже важливо. Okay. Okay, the next technology of recovery is assertiveness training. And we will talk about the importance of assertiveness for people in recovery, and what does it mean to be assertive. Maybe I'm sure you, I believe we had this assertiveness training, in our, during your bachelor program.
Yes, and I very like it because там дуже багато цінних речей було сказано, я дуже багато взяла для себе.
Ну, а тут ми розглянемо, що означає асертивність для процесу відновлення. Ви, думаю, звернули увагу, що тут ми говоримо recovery, а не rehabilitation. Що, в принципі, поняття recovery, воно більш м'яке, і на думку людей, власне, на думку дослідників і практиків, які почали поширювати поняття recovery замість rehabilitation, вони хотіли таким чином підкреслити процеси деінституціалізації. Тому що процеси реабілітації, соціальної реабілітації, вони найбільшою мірою вони поширені для тих клієнтів, які страждали на певні психічні захворювання і перебувають, наприклад, у ремісії. І для них потрібні особливі процедури. І такі процедури вирішила назвати саме recovery, тобто відновлення, а не реабілітація, для того, щоб максимально віддалити, скажімо так, соціальну практику від медичної моделі. So, first of all, we will talk about the importance of assertiveness for people in recovery. So, sometimes people really need to stand up for themselves. Failing to do so can mean not having their needs met and may lead to others taking advantage of them. It is therefore important that people learn to be assertive. So, for example, when individuals escape addiction, So we already talk about addiction in the case of social skills training. Now we will understand the necessity of recovery in this process, for example. So those people, addicted people, need to rebuild their life. And this requires approaching life in a new way. So addict's tactic of using manipulation or open aggression will be no longer working strategy. Yeah, it's not sufficient because we know that there is. So to distinguish assertiveness, we have to define the 3 types of behavior. Aggressive, it's one point, then passive, it's other point, and in between we have this assertiveness, which no aggressive, no passive. So there is a difference between being aggressive and being assertive. Assertiveness allows people to get their needs without conflicts, without humiliation of others, so with respect for other people. Assertiveness have a lot of common with self-esteem. It's closely related to self-esteem. So if people value themselves highly, then they will stand up for their own rights more gladly. So such people will also be far less willing to allow others to manipulate them. And I would say, so if we have the higher self-esteem, we wouldn't be aggressive. So it's really maybe surprising, but people who are very aggressive, they not have a high opinion of themselves. So they don't have self-esteem. Because if you have self-esteem, high self-esteem, I mean sufficient, adequate self-esteem, you know yourself, you're confident in yourself, why you should be aggressive? Yeah, there is no point to be aggressive. Unless something really thrilling to your life appeared. So individual with high self-esteem knows that they deserve the good things in life, and is giving them the confidence to be assertive about getting these things. So those with a healthy level of self-worth will not need to resort to manipulative techniques to get what they want. So they just can ask something and not build some very smart manipulative strategy how to get something from other person and so on. People with low self-esteem tend to be highly submissive. This means that they put up with abusive relationships and they pray to scam artists. When they do try to be assertive, it comes across as aggression. So actually, it's a very common thing on training, which when people are usually passive, so to become assertive, they first of all become aggressive, and then they come to assertiveness. So aggression is like a way from non-confidence to assertiveness. Reasons for non-assertive behavior in recovery. Well, if we're talking about assertiveness, it's a term which was suggested by psychologists. It was a cognitive psychologist who worked with people with mental illness in recovery from mental illness. So he noticed that those people have very hard and harmful recovery process because they have low self-esteem, fear of not being liked, and mistaking assertiveness for aggression. So what does it mean mistaking assertiveness for aggression? They don't want to be aggressive, so they say, so if I tell other people that I don't like it, or I don't want to do it, that would be very rude. Rudeness is aggressiveness. I don't want to be rude. So that's why I will do what others want me to do, to just for not being rude. Understandable, yeah? Then cultural influences could be a reason for non-assertive behavior. For example, in some parts of Southeast Asia, there is a cultural emphasis on saving face rather than asserting the rights of the individual. So keeping your face, like it means like не ударить в грязь лицом. Я думаю, що це буде найближчий переклад. Тобто, сохраніть лицо в даному випадку важливіше, ніж дотримуватися асертивних прав. Тобто, асертивність, вона ж в тому числі передбачає певну чесність, щирість, яка не ображає інших. Тобто не для того, щоб когось там принизити чи образити. А, наприклад, я можу визнати, що я не правий, якщо я дійсно не правий, і це мене не принижує. Але оцей saving face, тобто краще, що в певних культурних традиціях зберегти оцю видимість вважається нормою. Більше того, це є вимогою. Тому асертивність – це скоріше, власне, це продукт європейської традиції, і вона входить в такий кроскультурний конфлікт, скажімо, з іншими традиціями. Blind spot in regards to certain people. The individual may be assertive most of the time, but they might hold back due to love or feeling of owing something to these other individuals. Blind spot, в принципі, означає таке сліпу пляму. Тобто я можу скрізь бачити і бути там дуже рефлексивним, дуже розуміючим, але в мене є такі зони, які я сам не бачу. Це як Джогарі window, вікно Джогарі. Те, що я знаю про себе, те, що інші знають про мене. І от я знаю про себе, інші знають про мене, це от таке соціальне я. Я знаю про себе, а інші про мене не знають, це прихований я. Я, наприклад, знаю щось, але іншим я це не показую. Це моя інтимна частина життя. Але, окрім того, в цьому вікні Джогарі є ще те, що інші бачать, а я не бачу. І це теж називається сліпою плямою. Тобто цей blind spot. Тобто я можу не бачити те, що я роблю. І це може бути викликане, чи моїми почуттями до когось, чи, знову ж таки, якимось obsession, неважливо, не можу зараз навести. Я думаю, що так зрозуміло. Тобто, в силу якихось особистих моментів я можу не бачити, не помічати за собою неасертивної поведінки стосовно когось чи стосовно чогось. Тобто є такі свої теми, які є blind spot. І, власне, робота над собою там в тренінгах і в терапії, вона якраз в тому числі і над blind spot відбувається. Lack of importance regarding a particular issue. A person may feel that their rights are being violated, but not to such an extent that they need to make a big deal about it. Тобто, йдеться про те, що неасертивна поведінка, одна з причин неасертивної поведінки може бути в тому, що людина вважає, що її права порушуються, але не порушується до там не великою мірою, там прям що от треба йти на барикади, чи можна зробити щось, там подати скаргу стосовно цього. Однак все одно порушення, людина вважає, що порушення є. І тому вона може поводитися неасертивно, тобто агресивно або невпевнено в цих ситуаціях. So, what we can do for such people? Yeah, what does it mean to perform assertiveness training? So first of all, we have to distinguish. Assertiveness is our personal quality, like we are more assertive by our psychological nature, or we are more aggressive, or we are more passive. And we can distinguish assertive behavior. So assertiveness and assertive behavior, it's two different things. Yeah, I can behave assertive, but not be assertive. And here we can say that in assertiveness training, we'll work the rule, fake it until you make it. Прикидайся, поки ти не зможеш, прикидайся, поки в тебе не буде виходити. Тобто, прикидайся, що ти є таким, поки в тебе не вийде. Прикидатися, тобто fake it, тобто принаймні роби це асертивно, да, поки ти не станеш таким асертивним, поки ти не повіриш в те, що ти робиш, ти можеш поки що робити це механічно. Власне, на це орієнтований тренінг асертивності. So, it's a form of behavioral therapy. In the first years, it was conducted by cognitive behavior psychologists, towards people who struggle with mental illness. Designed to help people to stand up for themselves, to empower themselves in more contemporary terms. Assertiveness is a response that seeks to maintain an appropriate balance between passivity and aggression. It promotes fairness, equality in human interactions, and based on a positive sense of respect for self and others. If we're talking about history of assertiveness, after it appeared in cognitive psychotherapy, it spread among other groups, not only mental health group and personal growth groups, and it was very helpful in women's movement and in the United States of America in 1970s. So assertiveness for women's rights. Well, today, assertiveness training, it's a part of communication training, or could be a self-sufficient part, actually, like we had in our course in your bachelor program. In settings as diverse as schools, corporate boardrooms, psychiatric hospitals, for programs as varied as substance abuse treatment. It could be a part of social skills training, actually, yeah. So you can plan, for example, social skills training, and assertive skills would be a part of it. Vocational programs, it means professional, yeah, and responding to harassment. But assertiveness training has its own precautions. Предостереження. Це як з ліками. Є показання, а є протипоказання. Тобто протипоказання – це якраз precautions. So first, one potential caution would be to remain within assertive responses rather than become aggressive and standing up for oneself. Це те, про що ми говорили, що в тренінгу, якщо людина демонструвала невпевнену поведінку, то першим її кроком, коли вона хоче стати асертивною, буде трошки, можливо, надмірно агресивна поведінка. І наступне precaution, воно більш значуще. Assertiveness training should not be regarded as equivalent of martial arts training or similar physical self-defense techniques. Що це означає? Це означає, що тренінг асертивності не може бути прирівнений до, наприклад, тренінгу самооборони чи якихось інших фізичних тренінгів самозахисту. Це самозахист психологічний. І це означає, що означає ця пересторога? Що, наприклад, з жінками, які пережили насильство фізичне, сексуальне, в основному такого типу, не можна проводити тренінг асертивності, якщо вони досі знаходяться в ситуації ризику, загрози насильства. Якщо вони досі залишаються десь поруч з гвалтівником, з насильником, тренінг асертивності категорично заборонений, відповідно тому, що він може викликати вогонь на неї. Якщо вона живе з психопатом і раптом починає демонструвати навички асертивності, то її життю загрожує сильна небезпека. І, власне, тренінг асертивності можна проводити і потрібно проводити з жертвами насильства після реабілітації, не як основний компонент реабілітації, а вже після того, як вона пройшла, наприклад, психологічну реабілітацію. І тренінг асертивності, він спрямований власне на збирання цієї персональної лінії меж особистості. З відео ми вже сьогодні не встигнемо, я вам його кину в Google Class, дуже смішне відео Be Assertive, Get What You Want, я вам його скину. So, today we were talking about two types of training, social skills training and assertiveness training. I will put some questions in the Google Class a little bit later, just like questions to this course, and I will bring this material and this lecture as well. And I guess it's all for today. Do you have some questions for me?
I have a question about our future.
Okay, about our future.